It was October 14th, 2023, a Saturday. Elliot had called 3 days earlier and said, "Mom, we're doing a family dinner, just us. Nothing fancy. I should have known better. My son doesn't call anymore unless Sienna tells him to. I spent all day cooking. Pot roast, the way Kenneth used to make it, with those tiny pearl onions Elliot loved as a kid. Mashed potatoes from scratch. Green beans with almonds. I even baked a chocolate cake, which took me 4 hours because my hands shake now and I had to start the frosting twice. The kitchen smelled like butter and vanilla. I remember thinking Kenneth would have been proud. They showed up at 6. Elliot looked tired, thinner than last time. Sienna wore white, which she always does, like she's trying to prove something. Gerald and Constance Merrick came in behind them, already laughing about some private joke. I hadn't known they'd be there. Nobody told me. "Oh, Rainey," Constance said, kissing the air near my cheek. "You shouldn't have gone to all this trouble." I should have heard the warning in her voice. We sat down. I'd set the table with Kenneth's good dishes, the ones with the blue trim we got for our wedding in 1985, 38 years ago. Sienna looked at them like they were garage sale leftovers. "So," Gerald said, cutting into his pot roast before I'd even finished serving everyone. "Connie and I were telling the kids, we're getting too old to keep up that big house in Tucson. Property taxes alone are killing us." I nodded, made some polite sound. I didn't care about their house in Tucson. I was watching Elliot, who wasn't looking at me. "We figured," Constance said, reaching for the wine. "It's time to be closer to family, especially with Sienna and Elliot here. We're not getting any younger." I still didn't understand. Sienna smiled. She has this way of smiling where her mouth moves but her eyes stay flat. "We've been talking, Rainey, about how much space is going to waste in this house. 3 bedrooms, and you're here all by yourself." The green beans turned to sand in my mouth. "We thought," Elliot said, and his voice cracked a little, which almost made it worse. "We thought maybe Mom and Dad could stay in the master suite, just temporarily, until they find something." I put my fork down. "The master suite. It's the biggest room," Sienna said. "And you don't really need all that space, do you? I mean, it's just you, just me." As if Kenneth hadn't died in that room 4 years ago. As if I hadn't sat up with him for 72 hours straight, while the hospice nurse checked his morphine drip every 4 hours. As if I hadn't washed his body myself, because I couldn't stand the thought of strangers touching him. "That's my room," I said. Gerald laughed. Actually laughed. "Come on, Rainey. Don't be like that. It's temporary." "How temporary?" Nobody answered. I looked at Elliot, my son. The boy I used to rock to sleep singing "You Are My Sunshine," even when my voice was shot from double shifts at the hospital. The kid who cried for 3 days when his hamster died, and I sat with him on the bathroom floor at 2 in the morning because he said he needed to be alone, but kept calling for me. "Elliot," I said, "tell me you're joking." He looked at his plate. "Mom, they need help. We're family." "I paid for this house." My voice came out quieter than I meant. "I paid $180,000 from your father's apartment, the apartment he left me. I paid off the mortgage with his life insurance. This house is mine." "Technically," Sienna said, and I wanted to throw the pot roast at her perfect white blouse. "It's in Elliot's name, too. We added him to the deed last year, remember? For estate planning." I didn't remember. I remembered signing something Elliot brought over, something he said was just paperwork, Mom, in case something happens to you. I'd been so tired that day. I'd just gotten back from physical therapy for my hip. "You can take the guest room," Constance said, like she was doing me a favor. "It's cozy. The guest room is 10 feet by 8 feet. There's no closet, just an old dresser that sticks and smells like mothballs." "No," I said. Sienna's smile got tighter. "Rainey, be reasonable." I said no. That's when Elliot stood up. His chair scraped against the floor, loud in the silence. His face was red. I'd seen that look before, but only when he was little, when he couldn't have a toy or stay up late. Never directed at me. Never like this. "Mom." His voice was shaking. "Either you give them the master suite, or you need to find somewhere else to live." The room tilted. I heard the Carillon wind chimes Kenneth hung on the porch, the ones that sound like church bells. I heard Constance's fork clinking against her plate. I heard my own heartbeat in my ears, fast and hard. "You're serious," I said. "I'm serious." Elliot's jaw was tight. "I'm sick of this. Sick of you making everything difficult. They need help. And you're sitting here in this huge house acting like you're the only one who matters." Sienna reached up and touched his hand. Didn't say a word. Didn't have to. I stood up. My hips screamed, but I didn't care. I walked to my room. My room, the one I'd shared with Kenneth for 23 years, and I packed a bag. One change of clothes, my medication, the shoebox with Kenneth's letters, my purse. When I came back through, they were eating my chocolate cake. "Where are you going?" Elliot said. He sounded annoyed, like I was being dramatic. "Somewhere else," I said. I walked out, got in my 2015 Honda Accord, drove to the Motel 6 on Marina Boulevard, and paid $73 for the night. The room smelled like cigarettes and bleach. There was a stain on the carpet shaped like Ohio. I sat on the bed and I didn't cry. I just sat there, holding my phone, looking at the lock screen. It's a picture of Elliot when he was 6, gap-toothed, holding up a drawing he'd made of our family. 3 stick figures, me, him, Kenneth, all holding hands. I didn't sleep. At 11:47 p.m., my phone buzzed 4 times in a row. Vera. I stared at her name on the screen. Didn't answer. I couldn't talk. Couldn't explain. If I said it out loud, it would be real. The next morning, I went back to the house to get more clothes. The locks were changed. There was a note taped to the door in Sienna's looping handwriting. Called a locksmith for security. Text before coming by. I stood there on my own porch, looking at the lavender I'd planted in 2020, the year Kenneth died. It was blooming purple and silver in the October sun. I got back in my car. I didn't know where I was going. I just knew I couldn't stay there, staring at a door I couldn't open, in a house I'd bought with my dead husband's money, locked out by people who thought I didn't matter. That's when I opened my phone and looked at those missed calls from Vera. 4 times she'd tried to reach me. 4 times, right before midnight. What had she been trying to tell me? I stayed at that Motel 6 for 3 days. $73 a night, plus tax. $232 total. I know because I kept the receipts. Lined them up on the nightstand like evidence in a trial nobody was going to hold. On the 3rd day, Elliot texted me, "Mom, this is ridiculous. Come home. We need to talk. Home." Like it was still mine. I drove back on October 17th, a Tuesday. The lavender looked thirstier than before. Nobody had watered it. The mailbox was overflowing. I pulled out a stack of envelopes. My name on every single one. Electric bill, $287. Water, $104. Property tax notice. A reminder about my cardiologist appointment on the 23rd. I used my key. It didn't work. I stood there, key in hand, staring at the brushed nickel deadbolt Kenneth installed in 2018, because I'd said I wanted to feel safer after he was gone. I'd picked that lock myself. Brushed nickel, not brass, because it matched the kitchen fixtures. I knocked. Constance opened the door. She was wearing one of my aprons, the yellow one with sunflowers that Kenneth gave me for our 30th anniversary. It still had a flower stain on the pocket from when I made biscuits last Christmas. "Oh, Rainey," she said, like I was the Jehovah's Witnesses. "You should have called first. This is my house." "Well," she said, stepping aside just enough so I had to squeeze past her. "It's everyone's house now, isn't it?" The living room smelled different. Cigarette smoke, cheap cologne, the kind Gerald always wore, something that came in a green bottle from Walgreens. Kenneth used to joke about it, said Gerald smelled like a prom date from 1974. The TV was on, volume cranked up to 45. Some crime show. Gerald was in Kenneth's recliner, the brown leather lazy boy we'd bought in 2003 when Kenneth's back started going bad. Gerald had his shoes off. His socks had a hole in the left big toe. "Rainey," he said, not getting up. "Good to see you. Want a beer?" We picked up a case of Coors. I didn't drink Coors. Kenneth and I used to drink wine on Fridays, a bottle of red from Trader Joe's, $7.99. We'd sit on the back patio and talk about nothing. He'd do the crossword. I'd read. Sometimes we wouldn't talk at all, just sit there, and that was enough. "Where's Elliot?" I said. "Work," Constance called from the kitchen. My kitchen. "He'll be home around 6. I walked down the hallway. The floorboards creaked in the same spots they always did. 3 steps from the bathroom, 2 steps from the guest room, 1 step from the master suite. The master suite door was closed. I opened it. The bed was made with different sheets, sage green, the kind you get from Home Goods in a plastic bag. My sheets, the white ones with blue embroidery that Kenneth bought me for our 35th anniversary because he remembered I'd said I liked them in a catalog, were gone. The nightstands were covered with Constance's things: moisturizer, reading glasses, a Costco-sized bottle of Tums, a celebrity gossip magazine. Kenneth's side of the bed had Gerald's CPAP machine. I felt something crack in my chest. Not my heart. Something deeper. The part that keeps you standing upright when everything else wants to fall. The closet was open. My clothes were gone. In their place, Constance's velour tracksuits, Gerald's golf shirts, a garment bag with a suit I'd never seen. I walked to Kenneth's office, the room at the back of the house with the window overlooking the yard, the room where he used to sit at his desk and pay bills on Sunday mornings, humming off key to the oldies station, the room where I'd found him slumped over his keyboard on March 3, 2019, and screamed so loud the neighbor called 911. Gerald had turned it into his smoking room. There were cigar stubs in a coffee mug on the desk. My desk. Kenneth's desk. The window was open, but the smell had already soaked into the curtains. The photo of Elliot at age 6, the one where he's holding up his drawing of our family, was turned face down on the shelf. I picked it up, wiped the dust off the glass. Elliot's gap-toothed smile looked up at me. "I love you, Mommy," he'd written at the bottom in green crayon. The V in love was backwards. "Rainy?" I turned. Sienna stood in the doorway. She was wearing yoga pants and a tight white tank top, hair in a high ponytail. She looked like she'd just come from a workout class, the kind that costs $35 and makes you take your shoes off. "We need to talk," she said. "Get out of this room." Her eyebrows went up. "Excuse me?" This was Kenneth's office. Nobody smokes in here. Nobody. Gerald needs a space to relax. He has a lot of stress. I don't care if he has the bubonic plague. He doesn't smoke in my husband's office. Sienna's face changed. The fake sweetness melted off. What was underneath was colder, sharper. "Your husband is dead, Rainey. He's been dead for 4 years. This isn't a shrine. It's a room, and we need it. I don't remember moving. I just remember standing close enough to smell her coconut shampoo, close enough to see the tiny scar above her left eyebrow. Get out." She smiled. Or what? I didn't have an answer. She walked past me, picked up the photo of Elliot, looked at it for a second, and set it back down. Face down. Then she left. I stood there until my legs stopped shaking. Then I went to the kitchen. Constance was making herself a sandwich. Turkey, Swiss cheese, mayo. She'd used the last of the bread I'd bought on Friday. My bread. The good kind from the bakery section, $4.49 a loaf because it was the only one that didn't upset my stomach. "Constance," I said, and I was proud of how steady my voice was. "Where are my things? My clothes? My dishes?" "Oh." She licked mayo off her thumb. "Sienna packed them up. Said you wouldn't need so much space in the guest room. They're in boxes in the garage. Most of them anyway." "Most of them?" "Well, some things we donated. You had so many clothes you never wore. And those old pots and pans. Honestly, Rainey, they were falling apart." My pots and pans. The cast iron set Kenneth and I got as a wedding gift in 1985. 3 pieces. A skillet, a Dutch oven, a griddle. I'd seasoned them for 38 years. Cooked every meal Elliot ever ate as a child in those pans. Pot roast, pancakes. Grilled cheese sandwiches cut diagonal because that's how he liked them. You threw them away? Donated, Constance corrected. To Goodwill. They're probably making someone very happy. I walked to the garage, opened the door. 5 cardboard boxes, labeled in Sienna's handwriting. Rainy, clothes. Rainy, books. Rainy, Misk. I opened the one that said Misk. My jewelry box. Kenneth's reading glasses, the shell collection we'd gathered on our honeymoon in Carmel. A stack of birthday cards Elliot had made me when he was little, the kind with crayon drawings and backwards letters. At the bottom, Kenneth's watch, the Timex with the brown leather band. I'd given it to him for our 20th anniversary because he'd worn his old one until the strap broke. He'd worn this one every day until he died. The hospital had given it back to me in a plastic bag with his wedding ring and his wallet. I held it up to my ear. It had stopped. I'd forgotten to wind it. Mom? I turned. Elliot stood in the doorway between the garage and the kitchen, still in his work clothes, khakis and a button-down, his company ID clipped to his belt. What are you doing? He asked. Looking for my life. He sighed, ran a hand through his hair. He looked older than 35. Looked tired. Mom, come on. Don't be dramatic. Dramatic. I held up the watch. Your father's watch was in a box labeled Misk. I didn't know they packed that. They threw away my pans, the ones we got at our wedding. They're just pans, just a room, just me. Elliot, I said, and I made myself look at him. Really look at him. Trying to find the little boy who used to climb into bed with me during thunderstorms, who used to say, I love you, Mommy, every single night before bed until he was 13, and decided it wasn't cool anymore. Do you remember when you were 7 and you got pneumonia? I sat up with you for 5 nights straight. Your fever hit 104. You kept crying because your chest hurt and you couldn't breathe right. I slept on the floor next to your bed because you said you were scared to be alone. He looked away. I took 3 weeks off work, unpaid. We were so broke that year. Your dad was between jobs and I was still doing temp nursing because the hospital hadn't hired me full-time yet. We ate spaghetti for dinner 14 nights in a row because it was 19 cents a box, but I stayed home with you every single day because that's what mothers do. I know, Mom. Do you? Because right now it feels like you don't remember any of it. His jaw tightened. That's not fair. What's not fair is being locked out of my own house. What's not fair is watching strangers wear my apron and smoke in your father's office and throw away the things we built our life with. They're not strangers. They're Sienna's parents. I don't care whose parents they are. This is my house. It's my house too, he said, and his voice went hard. My name is on the deed. I have just as much right to be here as you do. And if you can't be reasonable about this, then maybe you should find somewhere else to stay. There it was again. That word. Reasonable. How much? I said. What? How much did you take from the joint account? His face went red. I checked yesterday. $12,000. Gone. Transferred out on September 8th. What was it for, Elliot? He didn't answer. Was it Sienna's credit cards? Her car payment? What? That's none of your business. It's my money. Your father's life insurance money. I put it in that account for emergencies. For you, if you needed it. Not for what? His voice was rising now. Not for my wife. Not for my family. I'm your family. So is she. We stood there, 3 feet apart, breathing hard. The fluorescent garage light flickered, buzzed. I could hear the TV from inside, some commercial about fabric softener. A woman's voice saying so soft, so fresh. Mom! Elliot's voice dropped, got quieter, softer. The voice he used when he was about to ask for something he knew I wouldn't want to give. I need you to sign something. He pulled a folded paper from his back pocket, held it out. I took it, unfolded it. My hands were shaking. Quitclaim deed, it said at the top. Transfer of property interest. My name. His name. The address, 4609 Seaview Lane, Mission Hills, San Diego, CA. You want me to sign my house over to you, not to me, to us, me and Sienna. It just makes things cleaner, legally. If something happens to you, I'm 62. I'm not dying. Mom. He stepped closer, put his hand on my arm. His palm was warm. "Please, just sign it. It doesn't change anything. You can still live here. We'd never kick you out. But this way, if something happens, there's no probate, no mess. It's easier for everyone." I looked down at the paper, at the blank line where my signature was supposed to go. "And if I don't sign?" His hand dropped. "Then we'll have to figure something else out." "Like what?" He didn't answer, just looked at me with those tired eyes, the same eyes that used to look up at me when I tucked him in at night, when I sang him "You Are My Sunshine," even though I can't carry a tune to save my life. "I'll think about it," I said. "Mom," I said, "I'll think about it." I walked past him, back into the house, past Constance and her sandwich, past Gerald and his crime show, down the hallway to the guest room, 10 feet by 8 feet, a twin bed with a thin mattress, a dresser that stuck, a window that looked out at the neighbor's fence. I closed the door, sat on the bed. The springs creaked. I pulled out my phone, looked at those 4 missed calls from Vera, all from October 14th at 11:47 p.m. I should have called her back days ago. My finger hovered over her name. Then I heard voices in the kitchen. Elliot, Sienna, Constance, laughing about something. I put the phone down, lay back on the bed, stared at the ceiling. There was a water stain shaped like a hand. I closed my eyes and tried to remember what Kenneth's voice sounded like. Tried to remember the exact tone of it when he said my name. Rainey. 2 syllables. The way he'd drag out the second one when he was teasing me, when he'd come up behind me while I was cooking and wrap his arms around my waist and say, "Rainey, my Rainey." I couldn't remember. 4 years, and I couldn't remember my husband's voice. I opened my eyes, looked at the quitclaim deed, still clutched in my hand. The signature line was blank. For now. I lasted 6 days in that guest room. 6 days of sleeping on a mattress that felt like cardboard over springs. 6 days of listening to Gerald's CPAP machine through the wall, that rhythmic hissing like a respirator in a hospital. 6 days of smelling Constance's lavender room spray every time I walked to the bathroom because she'd decided the hallway needed freshening up. 6 days of being a guest in my own house. On October 23rd, I had my cardiologist appointment. Dr. Patel. I'd been seeing him since Kenneth died, since the panic attacks started and my blood pressure went up to 160/95, and I'd wake up at 3 in the morning convinced I was having a heart attack. I drove myself. Nobody offered. Elliot had left for work at 7 without saying goodbye. Sienna was still asleep. Gerald and Constance were watching the Today Show at full volume, drinking coffee I'd bought, eating toast made from bread I'd paid for with money my dead husband left me. The appointment was at 10. Dr. Patel took my blood pressure 3 times because he didn't believe the first reading. 174/98, he said, frowning at the cuff. "Rainey, what's going on?" I told him I was fine, stressed, moving some things around at home. He didn't believe me. Prescribed a higher dose of lisinopril. Told me to come back in 2 weeks. Asked if I was sleeping. I lied and said yes. I wasn't sleeping. I'd lie there in that twin bed, staring at the water stain on the ceiling, listening to the house settle around me. Kenneth used to say houses talk at night, that if you listen close enough you can hear them breathing. He was right. I could hear every creak, every click of the thermostat, every flush of the toilet when Gerald got up at 2 a.m. like clockwork. I could hear Elliot and Sienna through the wall sometimes. Not words, just the rhythm of conversation. Her voice high and insistent, his voice low and tired. Once I heard her laugh, that bright fake laugh she does, and then silence, and then the bed springs, and I put the pillow over my head because I couldn't stand it. My son, in my bed, in the room where his father died. On October 24th, I went to the garage to get my winter clothes from the boxes. It was getting cold at night, down to 58 degrees, and all I had was the one sweater I'd packed when I left. The boxes were gone. I stood there in the empty garage looking at the oil stain on the concrete where Kenneth used to park his truck. 4 boxes. Rainey, clothes, Rainey, books, Rainey, Misk, gone. I went back inside, Found Constance in the kitchen, making tuna salad. She'd used the last of the mayo. The good kind. The Hellmann's I bought because the store brand gave me heartburn. "Where are my boxes?" I said. She looked up, licked her fingers. "Oh, those? Sienna took them to Goodwill yesterday. You weren't using them, and we needed the space for Gerald's golf clubs. My winter coats, Kenneth's sweaters, the ones that still smelled like his cologne if you pressed them to your face. The quilt my mother made us for our 10th anniversary, hand-stitched, every square a different pattern. The photo albums from when Elliot was little, every birthday, every Christmas, every gap-toothed smile, gone, to Goodwill, for $3.99 apiece. You had no right," I said. Constance shrugged. "Take it up with Sienna. She's the one who did it." I found Sienna in the master bedroom, doing yoga on a purple mat, downward dog, her ponytail swinging, meditation music playing from her phone, some kind of flute and waterfall sounds. "You donated my things," I said. She held the pose, didn't look at me. "You weren't using them. They were mine. They were clutter." She shifted into child's pose. "Rainey, you have to let go of the past. It's not healthy, hoarding all these old things. Kenneth is gone. You need to move forward. My mother made that quilt. And someone else will love it. That's the beauty of donation, giving things a new life." I wanted to grab that purple yoga mat and wrap it around her neck. I wanted to scream. I wanted to set the whole house on fire and watch it burn. Instead, I walked back to the guest room and closed the door. I sat on the bed. The springs creaked. I pulled out my phone and finally, I called Vera. She answered on the first ring. "Jesus Christ, Rainey, I've been trying to reach you for 10 days. I know. I'm sorry. I couldn't. Where are you?" "Home, the guest room." "They locked you in the guest room?" "They locked me out of the master. And the guest room is all I have left." Vera swore, long and creative, the kind of swearing she used to do in law school when she'd had too much wine and someone brought up her ex-husband. "I'm coming over," she said. "No, don't. It'll make things worse." "Worse than what?" "Rainey, do you know what I was calling about? That night?" I didn't answer. "I was at a conference in Phoenix, real estate law. Boring as hell, except I ran into Todd Bashara. You remember him? He did Kenneth's estate planning." "Vaguely. We got to talking. I mentioned you, mentioned the house. He asked if you'd updated the deed recently. I said no. Not that I knew of. He said that was weird because someone had requested a copy of the deed back in August, filed a public records request." My stomach dropped. "Who?" "Sienna Pemberton." I closed my eyes. "Rainey?" I pulled the deed the next day. "Your name is on it. Just yours. Kenneth set it up that way specifically. The house goes to you, free and clear. No joint tenancy with Elliot. But here's the thing. Someone tried to file an amendment in September. Tried to add Elliot's name as co-owner. Did it go through?" "No. It was rejected. The signature didn't match the notary records. Someone forged your signature, Rainey." The room tilted. I put my hand on the mattress to steady myself. "Sienna," I said. "Probably. I can't prove it. But the timing lines up. And now Elliot's trying to get you to sign a quitclaim deed, right? That's what this is about. He gave it to me 3 days ago. Don't sign it. Whatever you do, don't sign it. He said if I don't, they'll figure something else out. That's a threat, Rainey. That's him telling you they'll make your life hell until you give up." I laughed. It came out bitter. "They're already doing that." Vera was quiet for a second. Then, "Where are Kenneth's letters?" "What?" "The letters he wrote you before he died. Do you still have them?" I looked at the nightstand. The shoebox was there, tucked behind the lamp. I'd carried it with me from the motel, from the master bedroom, from every place I'd been pushed out of. "Yes, read them," Vera said. "Tonight, all of them. And then call me back. Vera, trust me. Read them. I'll be at my office until 8. Call me." She hung up. I sat there for a long time, holding the phone. Outside, I could hear a lawnmower, someone's dog barking. Normal sounds. Life going on like nothing was wrong. I pulled the shoebox onto my lap. Kenneth had written me 7 letters in the last month of his life, 1 a week, sometimes 2, when he was lucid enough to hold a pen. His handwriting got shakier as he got sicker, but I could still read every word. I opened the first one. March 2nd, 2019. My Rainey, if you're reading this, I'm already gone. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry I'm leaving you like this. I know you're going to blame yourself. Going to think you should have done more, should have seen it coming sooner. Don't. You gave me 34 years of the best life a man could ask for. You gave me Elliot. You gave me Sunday mornings and Friday night wine and every single day in between. I need you to do something for me. Protect what's yours. The house, the money, all of it. I worked my whole life to make sure you'd be okay when I was gone. Don't let anyone take that from you. Not even Elliot, if it comes to that. I love that boy, but he's got a soft heart and weak spine when it comes to people who want to use him. You're stronger than you think, Rainey. Stronger than I ever was. You're going to be fine. Better than fine. Love you forever, Kay. I read it twice, 3 times. Then I opened the second letter. March 9th, 2019. Rainey, hurts to write today, but I need to get this down. Talked to Todd Bashara yesterday about the will. House goes to you, all of it. No joint ownership with Elliot. He's got his own life, his own money coming from the insurance. The house is yours. Don't let anyone tell you different. If anyone tries to take it, fight. You hear me? Fight. Love, Kay. My hands were shaking. I opened the third letter. March 15th, 2019. R, can't write much. Too tired. Just remember, you don't owe anybody anything. Not your time. Not your space. Not your forgiveness. You gave and gave and gave your whole life. It's okay to say no now. Be selfish. For once in your life, be selfish. Can I read all 7 letters? Twice. Kenneth's voice came back to me with every word. That dry humor. That quiet strength. That absolute certainty that I mattered. That I was worth protecting, worth fighting for. Be selfish. For once in your life, be selfish. I put the letters back in the box, looked around the guest room, 10 by 8 feet, a twin mattress, a dresser that stuck, a window that looked at a fence. This wasn't my life. This wasn't what Kenneth died to give me. I pulled out my phone, opened my banking app. The joint account with Elliot showed $31,247. It had been $43,247 2 months ago. He'd taken $12,000 in September, like I'd thought. But my personal account, the one Kenneth's life insurance had gone into, the one only I had access to, showed $658,430. $658,430. Kenneth's life insurance payout, $780,000. Minus the house payoff, $360,000. Minus the down payment I'd made in 2020, $180,000. Plus 4 years of interest, minus living expenses. $658,000 that nobody knew about except me and Vera. I called Vera back. Did you read them? She said. Yes. And? I looked at the quitclaim deed, still sitting on the nightstand where I'd left it. I need you to do something for me, I said, and I need you to do it quietly. I'm listening. I need you to find me a house, on the beach, under $600,000. I want to close fast. Cash offer. No inspection contingency. I want it done in 2 weeks. Vera was quiet for 3 seconds. Then she laughed. Not her normal laugh. A different one. Surprised. Proud. Now we're talking, she said. I'll have options for you by Monday. And Vera? Yeah? Don't tell anyone. Not Elliot, not anyone. Nobody will hear it from me. I hung up, sat there in the silence. The house settled around me, creaked, breathed. I picked up the quitclaim deed, looked at that blank signature line. Then I tore it in half, and then in half again, and again. I dropped the pieces in the trash can beside the bed. Somewhere in the house I heard Sienna laughing, Gerald's TV blaring, Constance opening and closing cabinets in my kitchen. Let them laugh. Let them think they'd won. I knew something they didn't. I knew how much money I had. I knew my name was the only one on the deed. I knew Kenneth had made sure I'd be protected, and I knew exactly what I was going to do next. Vera sent me 3 listings on Monday morning. The first was in Del Mar. 2-bedroom, ocean view, $589,000. Too close. Elliot knew Del Mar. He'd find me. The second was in La Jolla. 1-bedroom, peekaboo view, $545,000. Too small. Too expensive for what it was. The third was in Oceanside. 1217 Pacific Coast Highway. 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, 200 square feet. Direct ocean view. $520,000. The photos showed white tile floors, floor-to-ceiling windows, a balcony with wrought iron railings. The sunset in the listing photo looked fake, too orange, too perfect. I want that one, I texted Vera. Oceanside? Really? It's 40 minutes north. Good, she called me. Rainey, you don't want to see it first. Is it structurally sound? According to the inspection report from the last buyer who backed out, yes. Then make an offer. Today. Full asking price. Cash. Close in 10 days. Vera was quiet for a beat. You're serious. Completely. What are you going to tell Elliot? Nothing. I hung up before she could argue. That afternoon, Sienna cornered me in the hallway. She was holding the trash can from the guest room. The torn pieces of the quitclaim deed were on top, visible. You ripped it up, she said. Yes. Elliot is going to be very disappointed. Elliot can talk to me himself. Her jaw tightened. You know what your problem is, Rainey. You're selfish. You have this whole house and you won't share. You're teaching Elliot that family doesn't matter. I looked at her, really looked at her. At the yoga pants that cost $120. At the highlights in her hair that cost $300 every 8 weeks. At the engagement ring Elliot bought her. 3 carats, $14,000 he'd borrowed from me and never paid back. Family matters, I said. That's why I'm not signing. She blinked. What? This house is mine. Kenneth left it to me. Just me. And I'm keeping it. You can't. I can. And I am. I walked past her. She grabbed my arm. Her nails dug in, sharp little crescents. You're going to regret this, she said. I pulled my arm free. We'll see. On October 30th, Vera called. Offer accepted. Close date is November 9th. Wire instructions coming tomorrow. I transferred $520,000 that afternoon. Didn't think, just did it. The next morning, I called a locksmith. Had him meet me at a Starbucks 2 miles from the house. I need you to change the locks at 4609 Seaview Lane, I said. On November 10th, early, before 7 a.m. He looked confused. Don't you live there? Not anymore. On November 3rd, I went to Vera's office. She had papers spread across her desk. Eviction notices. 30-day notices to quit. Legal terminology I didn't understand and didn't care to. You're sure about this? Vera said. Yes. Elliot is your son. I know who he is. She slid the papers across. I signed every one. My hand didn't shake. On November 8th, I packed. 1 suitcase, clothes, medication, Kenneth's letters, his watch, the photo of Elliot at 6, the one they'd turned face down. That was it. Everything else could burn. November 9th, the wire cleared. The condo was mine. I drove to Oceanside that afternoon, let myself in with the key the realtor had left in the lockbox. The place smelled like paint and sea salt. The floors were cold under my feet. The windows showed the ocean, gray and endless. I stood on the balcony, watched the waves, felt the wind. For the first time in 3 weeks, I could breathe. That evening, I went to a liquor store, bought tequila, lime juice, triple sec, made myself a margarita in a plastic cup from the gas station next door. I sat on the balcony and watched the sunset. Orange, pink, purple. The listing photo hadn't lied. On November 10th at 6:45 a.m., I drove back to Mission Hills, let myself in with my key one last time. The house was quiet. Everyone still asleep. I left the eviction notice on the kitchen table. 30 days to vacate. Legal language. Vera's signature at the bottom. Next to it, I left my key. Then I walked out. The locksmith was waiting in his van across the street. I nodded. He got out. I didn't stay to watch. I got in my car and drove back to Oceanside. At 8:17 a.m., Elliot called. I didn't answer. He called 6 more times. I turned off my phone. At noon, I turned it back on. 17 missed calls, 9 voicemails, 43 texts. I deleted them all without reading. Then I made another margarita and sat on my balcony and watched the ocean. It was the first day of my new life. Elliot showed up on November 12th. I was on the balcony, drinking coffee, watching a pelican dive for fish. The intercom buzzed. I looked at the video screen. My son, unshaven, eyes red, still wearing the same shirt from 2 days ago. I almost didn't let him in, but I pressed the button. He came up the stairs slowly. I heard every footstep. When I opened the door, he looked smaller somehow, thinner, older. "Mom," he said. I didn't move, didn't invite him in. "You evicted us." "Yes. You can't do that. It's my house too." "No, it's not. It never was." He pulled out his phone, showed me a screenshot. "I'm on the deed. Right here. See? Elliot Pemberton, co-owner." "That's a fake document. The one Sienna tried to file in September when she forged my signature." His face went white. "Vera pulled the real deed," I said. "Certified copy. Your father made sure the house was in my name only. Just mine. He knew." "Knew what?" "That you'd let someone take it from me." Elliot's hands dropped. The phone nearly slipped from his fingers. I didn't know she forged anything." "Didn't you?" "No, I swear, Mom. She told me you'd agreed. She said you signed the papers and changed your mind later. She said you were being difficult because you were grieving." "And you believed her?" "She's my wife. And I'm your mother." He looked away, stared at the ocean. A muscle in his jaw twitched. "The $12,000, I said." "What was it for?" "Her credit cards. She said it was temporary, that her event planning business was having cash flow issues. And the $18,000 before that, in 2022? He closed his eyes. "Her car. She totaled the Lexus and insurance didn't cover the full replacement. So you've given her $30,000 of my money in 18 months. It wasn't supposed to be like this." "Like what, Elliot? Like stealing from your mother? Like locking me out of my own house? Like letting your in-laws smoke in your father's office and throw away my things?" "I didn't know about the boxes. I swear. Sienna said you'd agreed to donate them." "I didn't agree to anything. Nobody asked me. They just took." He sat down on the top step, put his head in his hands. His shoulders shook. "I messed up," he said. His voice cracked. "I messed up so bad." I stood there looking down at him, my little boy, the one who used to cry during thunderstorms, the one who made me Mother's Day cards with backwards letters. "Sienna's pregnant," he said. Of course she was. She told me yesterday. 8 weeks. She said if you go through with the eviction, we'll have nowhere to go. She said our baby will be homeless because of you. You have 30 days to find somewhere. Mom, please, I'm begging you. Let us stay. We'll pay rent. Whatever you want. Just don't do this. I already did it. He looked up at me. His eyes were Kenneth's eyes, brown with gold flecks. The same eyes that used to look at me like I could fix anything. I'll leave her, he said. I blinked. What? I'll leave her. I'll file for divorce. Just please, let me come back. I'll do anything. You'd leave your pregnant wife? She's been lying to me for months, maybe longer. I found emails yesterday. She's been planning this since before we got married, trying to figure out how to get the house. She found out about Dad's life insurance and His voice broke. She played me, and I let her. I let her turn me against you. The pelican dove again, came up with a fish, swallowed it whole. Elliot, I said, and my voice was quieter than I meant it to be. I can't save you this time. I'm not asking you to save me. I'm asking you to forgive me. Those are the same thing. He stood up, wiped his face with his sleeve. What do I do? You figure it out. You're 35 years old. You have a job. You have money. Or you would if you stopped giving it all to Sienna. You find an apartment. You decide if you want to stay married to someone who forged your mother's signature. You decide what kind of father you want to be. And us? You and me? I looked at him. Really looked at him. Tried to see past the hurt and the anger and the betrayal. Tried to remember the good parts. The little boy who made me laugh. The teenager who drove me to chemotherapy appointments when Kenneth was too sick. The young man who cried at his father's funeral and held my hand through the whole service. I don't know, I said. Ask me in 30 days. His phone buzzed. He looked at it. His face hardened. Sienna, he said. She's calling a lawyer. She says you can't evict a pregnant woman, that it's illegal. Vera says otherwise. Mom, 30 days, Elliot. That's the law. After that, if you're still there, the sheriff will remove you. She'll fight this. She'll make it ugly. Let her try. He stared at me for a long moment. Then he turned and walked down the stairs. I watched him go. Watched him get in his car. A Tesla Model 3. $48,000. I'd co-signed the loan. He drove away. I went back inside, made another cup of coffee, sat on the balcony. My phone rang. Vera. Rainey, I just got a call from Sienna's lawyer. Brad Kellerman, ambulance chaser, but loud. He's threatening to sue for wrongful eviction, emotional distress, endangering a fetus. It's all garbage, but he'll file anyway. Let him file. It'll cost money to defend. I have money. He's also going to argue that Elliot has tenant rights, that he's lived there for over a year, paid rent. He never paid rent. Can you prove that? I thought about the joint account, the $12,000 withdrawal, the $18,000 before that. No rent payments, no paper trail. Yes, good. I'll draft a response. But Rainey, there's something else. What? Sienna's event planning business? It's bankrupt. Has been since July. She owes $67,000 to vendors. I found the court filings. She's being sued by 3 different companies. Does Elliot know? I doubt it. I closed my eyes, saw my son's face, that lost look, that realization that everything he thought was real was a lie. There's more, Vera said. Gerald and Constance. Their house in Tucson? Foreclosed. Bank took it in August. They've been lying about visiting. They had nowhere else to go. So they were using us from the start. Looks that way. I sat there, holding the phone, watching the waves. Vera, I said, how fast can you push the eviction through? 30 days is standard. But if they don't leave voluntarily, we can get a sheriff's lockout on day 31. Do it. You're sure? I'm sure. I hung up, sat there until the sun started to set. Orange, pink, purple. My phone buzzed. A text from Elliot. I'm sorry, Mom, for everything. I love you. I stared at it for 5 minutes. Then I typed back, I love you too. But love isn't enough right now. I pressed send. Then I turned off my phone, poured myself a margarita, and watched the ocean turn dark. December 10th, day 31. I woke up at 5:47 a.m., didn't need an alarm. My body knew. The ocean was gray. Fog hung low over the water. I made coffee, strong, black, stood on the balcony and watched the sun try to break through. At 8 a.m., Vera called. Sheriff's department is on their way. You want to be there? No. Rainey, I don't need to see it. Just tell me when it's done. Okay. She paused. For what it's worth, I think you're doing the right thing. It doesn't feel right. It never does. I hung up, sat on the couch, stared at my phone. At 9:23 a.m., Elliot called. I didn't answer. At 9:47, he texted, Please, Mom, give us 1 more week. Just 1. I didn't respond. At 10:15, Vera called back. It's done. Sheriff's lockout completed. They're out. Where did they go? Elliot loaded some stuff into his car. Sienna's parents left in a U-Haul. Headed east, the deputy said. Sienna was screaming about lawyers and lawsuits. Made quite a scene. And Elliot? He asked the deputy to give you something. What? An envelope. I have it here. Do you want me to open it? No, bring it to me. She arrived an hour later, handed me a manila envelope, wrinkled and smudged. My name written on it in Elliot's handwriting. I waited until she left to open it. Inside, a check for $30,000, a letter, and a photo. The photo was the one from the hallway. Elliot at 6, holding up his drawing of our family. 3 stick figures holding hands. The letter was 2 pages. His handwriting shaky. Mom, I don't expect you to forgive me. I don't forgive myself. I'm leaving Sienna. Papers are filed. I'm staying at a motel near work until I find an apartment. She can have whatever she wants in the divorce. I don't care anymore. I'm paying you back. This is everything I took. It's not enough. It'll never be enough. But it's a start. I found out yesterday that Sienna knew about Dad's life insurance the whole time. She looked it up before we even got engaged. She had a plan. Get married. Get close to you. Get the house. Sell it. Keep the money. I was so stupid, Mom. So blind. She told me you were difficult, that you were stuck in the past, that you didn't want us to be happy, and I believed her. I chose her over you. I chose her over Dad's memory. I don't know how to fix this. I don't know if I can. The baby isn't mine. I got a paternity test yesterday. She's 8 weeks pregnant, but we haven't slept together since July. She admitted it last night. Said it was complicated. Said she needed the pregnancy to keep me in line. I don't know who the father is. I don't want to know. I'm sending you this photo because I want you to remember who I used to be, before I became this person, before I forgot what you sacrificed for me. I used to draw us holding hands because I never wanted to let go of you. I'm sorry I did. Love, Elliot. I read it 3 times. Then I set it down on the coffee table and stared at it. The baby wasn't his. Sienna had planned everything from the beginning. Gerald and Constance were broke and desperate. And Elliot, my son, my little boy, had been a mark. I should have felt vindicated, should have felt satisfied. Instead, I just felt tired. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. This isn't over, Rainey. You ruined my life. I'll ruin yours. Sienna. I blocked the number. Didn't respond. At 2 p.m., Vera called again. You're not going to believe this. Try me. Sienna's lawsuit got dismissed. Judge threw it out. Said she had no standing. Also, Brad Kellerman dropped her as a client. Why? She didn't pay him. Retainer bounced. He's threatening to sue her for fraud. I almost laughed. Almost. There's more, Vera said. Remember that client I mentioned? The one who was friends with me? Reginald Howe? Vaguely. He owns half the event venues in San Diego. I had lunch with him yesterday. Mentioned what Sienna did. He made some calls. She's blacklisted. No venue in the county will work with her. She's done. Karma. Swift and silent. And Gerald and Constance? I asked. Back in Tucson. I have a friend at the courthouse there. They're being sued by their old HOA for $14,000 in unpaid fees. Wage garnishment starts next month. I sat back, closed my eyes. Rainey, you okay? Yeah, I'm okay. I hung up. Sat there in the silence. The ocean outside, the gulls calling, the wind rattling the balcony door. At 6:47 p.m., there was a knock. I looked at the video screen. Elliot, thinner than last time, holding a coffee cup. I buzzed him in. He came up slowly, stood in the doorway, didn't ask to come in. Did you get my letter? He asked. Yes. And the check? Yes. He nodded, looked at his feet. I'm not asking to move in. I'm not asking for money. I wanted to see you, to say it in person. Say what? I'm sorry. I know it's not enough. I know words don't fix this, but I'm sorry. I looked at him, at the circles under his eyes, at the wrinkled shirt, at the way he held himself, smaller, like he was trying to disappear. The baby, I said, isn't mine. I know. She told me. What are you going to do? Nothing. Let her deal with it. I'm out. And you? What about you? He shrugged. I got an apartment, 1 bedroom in Mira Mesa, $850 a month. It's small, but it's mine. Good. I've been going to therapy, twice a week, trying to figure out how I got here, how I became this person. And? I don't know yet, but I'm trying. I stepped aside. You want some coffee? He looked surprised. You sure? No, but come in anyway. He came in, stood in the living room, looked around, at the white tile, at the windows, at the ocean beyond. It's nice, he said. It's quiet. I made coffee, handed him a mug. We sat on the balcony, side by side, not talking, just watching the waves. After 10 minutes, he said, I don't expect you to forgive me. I know, but But I want to earn it back, however long it takes. I looked at him, at Kenneth's eyes, at the boy who used to be mine before the world broke him. You have 30 days, I said. 30 days? To prove you mean it. To show me you're not the person you became. 30 days to decide who you are. And then we'll see. He nodded, drank his coffee, set the mug down carefully. I can do 30 days, he said. We'll see. He stayed for an hour. We didn't talk about Sienna. Didn't talk about the house. Didn't talk about the eviction. We talked about Kenneth, about the stupid jokes he used to tell, about the time he tried to fix the dishwasher and flooded the kitchen, about Sunday mornings and crossword puzzles and Friday night wine. When Elliot left, he hugged me, tight, like he used to when he was little and scared of the dark. I love you, Mom, he said. I love you too, I said. But love isn't enough, not yet. I know. He left. I watched him drive away. Then I sat on the balcony and watched the sunset. Orange, pink, purple, the same sunset as always, the same ocean, the same wind. But I was different. I'd lost my house, my son, my certainty that family meant loyalty. But I'd gained something too. I'd gained my voice, my spine, my refusal to disappear. Kenneth had told me to be selfish, to protect what was mine. I'd done that. And now I had to wait and see if Elliot would do the same, if he'd protect himself, if he'd become the man his father wanted him to be. 30 days. We'd both see who we were at the end of them. I finished my margarita, watched the stars come out. Tomorrow, I'd water the plants I'd bought for the balcony. I'd call the property manager about the leaky faucet. I'd make an appointment with Dr. Patel to check my blood pressure. Tomorrow, I'd start living again. But tonight I'd sit here and remember Kenneth, remember the boy Elliot used to be, remember the woman I used to be before I learned to say no. The ocean kept moving, the stars kept shining, and I kept breathing. That was enough, for now.